Bannerlord can be a brutally hard game. Often you're outnumbered and massive armies march against you. Well, in this new series, we're going to work together, friends. What I want you to do is send me your difficult situations that you're either currently encountering in Bannerlord in your campaign, or something that you've dealt with in the past where you're just unable to solve it. I will do my very best to handle these difficult situations. I will share the results on YouTube, provided they have some kind of educational value for people. We will take on these difficult challenges, do some battlefield analysis, and hopefully help you turn around a very, very difficult battle. So join me on this adventure. Please send me your difficult situations. Have a little patience. I don't know how many there are going to be, but I'm willing to take these challenges on for you fellas as we handle your disasters of war. Friends, this new series, Disasters of War, is basically a combo effort. We are going to work together, and what I mean by that is you are going to provide difficult save games or situations that you want me to analyze and try to solve for you, whether it's part of a campaign or something like that, and I'm going to show you how to do that, right? I have my Windows drive here. It shows my different various drives, and most people should have this little sidebar right here where you have documents and videos and downloads and stuff like that. All you do is you go to this little folder that says documents, and this should be the same for most people, although obviously it depends on what Windows version you're using. For me, I just click this button, documents. It brings it right in here, the Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord folder, and then you go to game saves. Right now you're going to have to search by date modified. Probably you can actually see these are really old save files. It's amazing to think that I was starting to play and I was probably getting rocked by looters in early January of 2022. But all you do then is take this save file and attach it to an email, or however you send an email, and send it to the email link that's in the video description. That's it. I'll then review it and see if it's worthy of an episode, and hopefully your name and your solution will be one of our episodes. All right, friends, that's all there is to it. Hopefully I can see your difficult challenges and we'll take a shot. Thanks again for watching, and now we'll get to today's episode. All right, friends. Now, also, before we get to today's episode, I want to point something out here. This was the email I got from this fella, and I've blacked it out a little bit here because it eventually led me on a bit of a mystery. You can see what was going on with this situation. Please provide me a little bit more details than this. As you shall soon see, sometimes I need a little bit more information. All right, well, let's load this up. I'm kind of excited, right? Every single one of these is, I guess it's a little bit like fishing in the deep ocean or Christmas morning or something like that. You just never know what you're going to get, right? Forrest Gump would say, what? It's like a box of chocolate, right? Welcome back again. Achievements are disabled. Yeah, we do have a couple mods here that the Steam or whatever doesn't like, so it disables the achievements. I don't know. Maybe that's disastrous for people. I guess I should mention that here. Maybe if you use our save game solution for these, it won't work. Where the hell is our battle here? I'm a little confused. So I just get dropped into this world. He said, well, he said explicative, this fella. Usually I don't censor it, but I don't see the guy's name. Fuck Locala. So it's a little bit strange. We start with the mystery here for today's episode. Is it Lucala? Okay, it's Lucala. And he wrote he wrote fuck Lucala, fuck this guy, or something like that. He sounded very frustrated with this guy, and I presume there's some kind of fight, but where is this guy? Normally, you know, I kind of presume that people would set me up with the battle here, but this looks like it occurs right before the battle. I hope that's the case. We're on a little bit of a wild goose chase here, and I guess just to say, welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and he's got a good army. Man, he likes his meat shields. He's got a whole bunch of cavalry, including those dipshits with the terrible helmet, and almost no archers. This is a thing. Guys don't use archers in Bannerlord. I don't know if they consider it unmanly or they consider archers weak. The Imperials do have some kind of mediocre archers, with the exception of the Sergeant Crossbow. Now, his character is it's kind of a jack of all trades. Something's funny here. This is, well, it's a good thing we haven't said the guy's name in case people are going to ridicule him, but any experienced player can look at this and say, things aren't exactly on an even keel here. This is definitely some character editing, whether they've used a mod or whatever. We're not here to denigrate guys though, so I'm not going to worry about it, but there's no way you have that many attribute points at level 17. And he's spec'd really strange. A bunch of skill points and tactics. Hopefully we can teach this fella some actual tactics so that he can get revenge on Lucala here. We're not going to shame people for editing their game, right? That's not what we're going to do here. You want to edit your game, I'm not going to come on here. We will exclude this guy's name, especially because he was explicative this, explicative that. He wrote a very feisty email. But I'm still happy to help you there, fella, even though, you know, your character is kind of augmented. I don't know why you're not using your noble bow. And we're not going to spend too much time on your companions. In fact, before I get started too deep here, we better find out what's going on here. It looks like Lucala went this way. It said he was near that village, and we literally have a mystery to start today's episode. So there's a party over there. Man, like another player. These guys all seem to hate money. He's got, is that 400, almost 400 troops in the garrison. This is his castle, Bannerlord's guard. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Minus 4,000 gold. You're going to be broke real quick there, brother. And you have no influence. Don't worry, my YouTube channel had 3 subscribers at one point. We all start off with no influence. But let's see what we got going on here for today's puzzle. I hope there's a puzzle. It's probably a battle here at Epicrotia. We're literally starting this episode with a mystery. I don't know what's going on here. In fact, I may just have to delete this once we figure out where Lucala is, because we're going to go fuck him, right? We're going to... it's hard for me to censor. You know, you fellas, Epicrotia is being defended by Bellathor. I would imagine. Is this him there? No. You fellas, you know, can put me in scenarios where I'm supposed to do something, maybe siege a city or something, help with the city, but it would help if I knew what I was doing. You can help me out a little bit. It wasn't the most eloquently written email I've ever received, this fella wrote. It was very explicative oriented. And there's Lucala, right? So here's our battle. At least we found it. And I don't think we wasted too much time, even though it seems like this is a bad situation. The Sturgeons are here. It looks like their army is getting mauled at Epicrotia. I promise I'm not laughing at you, dude. I almost said his name. Trying not to say his name here. So we're outnumbered 623 to 1254. Almost exactly 2 to 1. It's a pretty grim situation here. Let's see. Oh. This is a thing too. Just be aware, fellas, when you send me your game, it includes the settings, right? So some of you guys are playing on different damage and stuff like that. We're gonna do all these with Bannerlord difficulty. You know, it's an uphill battle for sure. It should be a bridge battle. Usually a battle right here at Epicrotia is at a bridge, which gives us a fighting chance, literally. So let's see what's going on here. And with all of this Disasters of War series, we're going to see what happens here in the beginning, mostly with sergeants in charge. Unless our troops do something insanely stupid, where I'll probably reel them in like a dog running out trying to attack an elephant. We will probably just let these troops sergeants in charge here. So we've got a large force. This is by far the biggest battle of all these so far. Thank you, by the way, for all of the emails with Disasters of War submissions, we'll call them. I've got 7 or 8 that are just kind of sitting there that I've got to sift through. This one, you know, piqued my interest right away, I guess because of the explicatives. I figured this guy, him and I are cousins or something like that, and look at how slow he swings his polearm. So you can't use your polearm and your shield at the same time. So we're also going to give tips, right? Whether, you know, you're a relatively new player or highly experienced, you can benefit from a shield in this situation, but I much prefer more arrows here, right? He's got a bow. We're going to put a noble bow on him. And actually, you know, the sergeant in charge isn't doing a terrible job. This is almost exactly where I would put our archers. Now, I don't like a couple things they're doing, like the horse archers and cavalry on the far bank there. This infantry division is one big glob, no flanking at all. They're also blocking a lot of the archers. And the enemy, of course, came in with a tragedy. I mean, it's basically just a giant mosh pit. The enemy sent thousands of units. we're gaining levels here. Now this is just the simulation, right? None of this shit counts. If I kill your character too, I'm not gonna send back your saved character. Well, your guy's dead. Enjoy that, right? You guys obviously. The save game part of it, the only reason I sent it back was a courtesy. I'm not sure anybody actually wants the save game back. In the future, I might even, if I end up doing 20 of these or something, or more, who knows, I might even say, tell me if you want the solution sent back to you. In other words, if you don't want to go through the battle, or maybe you think it's too difficult for yourself, what are you guys doing? Just stand there holding their shields up. Shoot, motherfuckers. I think they were on hold fire, even though the sergeant was in charge there. A lot of these guys are out of ammo already. But just to finish that point, I might not send the saved games with the solution to guys in the future, because I imagine a lot of guys, they want to do it themselves, right? You don't want to see somebody else play your game for you. And I had one guy, he basically said, can you fix my whole campaign? I'm like, sorry, man. I might do a 45-minute episode. I might even do a situation where I help somebody with town management, get you out of a bad rebellion situation or something like that. I'm not averse to doing some campaign strategy and give you my thoughts on the broader scope, in addition to tactics. But I'm not going to play like 3 hours of your campaign. Sorry, brothers. Now, it's going bad, but it's not horrible. And so it gives me hope that we can turn this around, right? You're outnumbered, what was it, 1254 to 620. So you got to obtain a 2-to-1 kill ratio. Now, we're out of ammo here. That's why the AI is sending their archers up with predictable results, right? And I'm just going to speed through this because I think anybody who watches Bannerlord can tell this battle is over. I do want kind of a final tally here, but just to reemphasize those points. First, if you want your name used, in other words, on the episode, and I'm glad I didn't use this individual's name, you let me know in the email, right? When you email these, I'm going to include a guide. In fact, you probably saw it already. I'll probably, push that towards the front of the episode so that you guys know exactly how to send save games to me. It's actually a lot easier than I thought, because most save files are pretty small, right? 5 megabytes? Is that right? Could they be 5 megabytes? It's pretty small. I can easily get them through email and instantly have your battle to try to solve. And then the last thing is, if you are using lower player settings and stuff like that, or cheat codes like this guy might have been using, maybe you don't want to have your name out there, right? There's mean fucks in the world, and I would hate for you to be on the bad end of any bullying. I certainly won't tolerate it on our channel, but who knows what happens elsewhere. All right, it's also nice these save games are kind of small because most of these guys are early in their campaign. This guy looks like he's a new vassal, and achievements are disabled. I want to mention that again. Just be aware, if you take these save games, it might fuck up your little achievements. I don't give a shit about achievements. The whole little, you've got 7 achievements and this and that, but you might. So just be aware, if you take my save game, it's probably going to disable that, because we are using mods like the Strength and AI mods that alter the game but don't give us any advantage. In fact, we use them, if you know anything about our channel, we actually use them for more difficulty. Now, a few things he could have done here for sure. Let's see what he's got in the garrison. His garrison is stuffed to overflowing here, and he's really neglecting archers. And I want to make a real fine underscore point on this. You guys that are playing, and maybe you've got 100 hours or 50 hours, if you haven't at least tried a half dozen or a dozen battles with an archer, I don't want to even say heavy army, with an archer balanced army. This guy had like 10% or less archers. Let's give him 20% or 30%, especially at a bridge battle. Tremendously valuable, right? We're going to definitely benefit. Now, I don't actually like the Imperial archers, right? This guy should have 2 quivers. In fact, I think I've been telling people for a while, he has 2 quivers. It's a tier 4 archer with 1 quiver. That sucks. Ammunition at a bridge battle is essential because you're going to be shooting at the enemy for a while. That almost seems like a bug that their tier 4 archer has 1 bag. For example, the tier 3 Aserai and Sturgeon archers have 2 bags of arrows. That seems glaring to me. But their tier 5 Palatine guards are pretty good. We'll take a few more Manablitons. We're trying not to wildly stack this army. I'm not just going to take every single best troop and min-max this, but just some broad suggestions, right? Anytime that you go out in the world of Bannerlord, if you don't have at least 25-30% of archers, you are literally playing with one arm behind your back, right? You're just making things much harder on yourself than it needs to be. Now, if that's your style, right, you just want to smash the enemy into pulp with a bunch of cavalry, and you find archers cowardly, just like the nobles did back then, that could be your thing. By the way, these are free. You need no influence to gather up your little player clans. This Brunda the Huntress, she's she's a companion that has a little army. You can add her to your army for free. Now, I did it too late. She's not going to make this battle, but that's just another little tip. For a battle like this, you need as many troops as you can, right? Now, there's an army there. It seems like it's more troops. 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. Maybe it's the same. Let's see. No, that's definitely more. 12. If my memory's right and my numerical memory is outstanding, I can still remember my phone number from when I was 7 years old. They had 1252 or something like that. 1255. This is like way more troops. And I'm almost certain we had 620. So we have less troops here, which is actually just fine, right? We're going to fight an even harder challenge here. And try to do some tactics, try to overcome this difficult battle. And maybe this is why the guy had the lower difficulty settings, right? You guys got to remember stuff like that, right? Circumstances. This guy might have been raging in his room or his dorm at college. He's already got to study, and then he's getting whipped by Lucala, this punk-ass noble. Now, we're still going to play with Bannerlord difficulty. We want the challenge here. And if we lose, but it's close, we'll send this out there anyways. If you're watching it on YouTube, it's probably going to be a battle worth watching, right? It'll probably at least be close. Now, we're only in charge of, our 220 units here, right? So we're still going to use these AI troops. And what I mean by that is we're going to be watching what they do and trying to augment them. I am splitting our army into 6 groups. We won't get crazy with all 8 groups, but let me show you what I'm going to do here. The enemy is going to come down the slot more than likely. And it is an advantage, of course, to watch these battles, but presumably this guy fought it more than once. We're going to put archers and shock troops, preferably shock troops, on our right flank. Then we're going to put an archer division behind him, just in case there's opportunity, right? They're going to be on hold fire. If we have the right opportunity to flay the enemy with arrows, we will use it, right? If you don't have them positioned there, you can't do that. We'll pull them back if it doesn't work out. In the short term, we're going to put the other archer division on top of this hill to augment the other archers that the AI looks like they're bringing back up here again. We're going to do a few things differently, though. I'll talk about the infantry in a second. First, we're going to protect these archers. I know this is a strange concept. Let me see what I want to do here. Try to park our horse back here, but I'm having second thoughts already. If I do that, the horse could get moved around. I want to be able to show you that infantry up close too. I'm not going to use the RTS mod for a lot of these, right? We're going to fight on foot because most of you are not using it as well. So let me get back on the horse here. Forget all that, right? I'm an old guy. Sometimes I vacillate and change my thoughts 5 times in a second. Let's protect these archers first. Let me show you what I want to do here. At this edge here, where the enemy has archers shooting at him, put them in shield wall. Now, that won't protect every archer, of course, and some of the archers may not be able to see every single second, but what it does is it sort of functions like those castle walls, where there's little tiny openings that the archers can shoot out of, and more importantly, all those shields and armored horses will protect those archers a bit. I've done tests, and my results generally show about a 30% less attrition rate. These are shock troops right here. Let's bring these guys forward. We are going to do a right-handed crimping savage flank. The enemy's already coming up. They're kind of rushing up. The reason we're flanking hard on this side is that we want the other side open to our archers, right? We want to essentially spin the enemy troops and leave our left side with no troops. That way, let's get these archers backed up. We might even just get them across the bridge. But that way our archers are just shooting right into the backs of the enemy troops. Now, we're still going to be able to kill with this polearm, but I almost see why this guy's using a cheat code. This is unbelievably slow, and it's the kind of thing, he should be gaining a lot of levels. I don't think he has his focus points assigned optimally. When you have like 1 focus point assigned to polearm, even if you have 10 strength, it doesn't work very well. Anyways, I digress. So we're flanking the enemy hard, and we have shock troops on the enemy's side. So we're we are supplementing and adding to the death on the line there. Instead of having all your troops jumbled up, we're now boring in hard to the enemy left flank, right? It's our right flank. You can actually get a nice glimpse of it right here. And critically, the other side, our archers are just having a heyday because there's nothing in their way, right? They don't have a whole bunch of infantry in their way, trying to get killed here. They're they're going to be able just to fire right into the packed enemy ranks. Meanwhile, on this side, our infantry is just cranking those Manavolitons, I assure you, are just bobbing up and down. The death spam looks great so far. Now, I brought this other archer division over here because my earlier plans didn't work out, right? We had this contingency. In a long battle like this, and this is hardly over yet, right? The enemy's bringing up reinforcements. This will probably be one of the longer battles for this series. This other archer division here, it's really nice to have some ammo later in this fight, right? 10 minutes from now, 8 minutes from now, this battle's still going to be going on. And if you have all your arrows expended in this first 10 minutes, if you need arrows later, you're fucked, right? That's why generals like Napoleon, Alexander, etc., they would have reserve divisions or royal divisions or whatever it was, right? Napoleon, they would typically have like a guard division, and they would have guard artillery, and they were for precisely this kind of a battle, where early in the battle they would not be used typically unless there was a critical moment for Napoleon. But if there was a battle where they were either badly pressed or it was late in the battle, and you know the guys were exhausted, you might use that guard division to then break the enemy. In this case, it's not as fancy as all that, but what we're using them here is a reserve archer division, right? We're keeping that 4th division on ice, and just slow it down just a touch here. I want to be able to speed through these, but if I, smash my horse into a spear and get killed, I look like a dipshit. So the enemy's bringing up lots of troops. Here's where those archers are going to pay off, right? Fire, Will. The guy yells. I love how enthusiastic he is. I fucking love Bannerlord. Fire! He yells as loud as he can. Fire! And we're now crossing the T of the enemy archers, right? Their archers are in a nice, beautiful line, very hard to miss. In fact, we'll demonstrate. I was going to do this earlier. Now is the time, right? We picked up that noble bow. The green death spam tells you all you need to know. We've got some AI infantry there. That's not actually our troops. We've got more tricks in the bag here. Anybody gets in your way, just shoot them in the back, right? It's fear. You want to operate as a Bannerlord commander through fear. Pixels understand fear. Just punch your computer. When I was younger, I used to punch my computer screen. It'll work right, I assure you. Either that or it'll break and you'll hurt your hand. So you want to shoot these guys here in a jumble like that, right? You want to aim for the packed masses of troops. Now, I'm aware 95% of you just rolled your eyes, but a newer player, don't aim for the individual guys. You're going to miss sometimes. The arrows go wild all over the place. Aim for the fucking packed mass of troops. When you aim for singular guys, I mean, I've got a high definition monitor. You're rarely going to get the shot. When you have a group of guys, just fling it in the middle, right? You're going to hit something. All right, so our infantry here. We do have plans with our infantry. I got to borrow a horse here. People ask all the time. This is F3, F5, right? I just took a few horses out of the 3rd division, and I did that almost entirely to say, give me your horse, Commander. I need that horse. So we steal his horse. I'll tell him to get back on, and I'll use those guys over here. We might as well. What we're going to do is almost the exact same thing we did at the gate, just on this side of the bridge. We are going to take our infantry division with lots of shock troops. We'll take both of these infantry divisions and put them on the far side of the bridge here. That is because we don't want them blocking our archers, right? As the enemy comes over, the enemy still has a bunch of troops crossing the bridge, right? We may have a final stand here. We're now going to have savage infantry and shock troops boring in on their side while they get shot on the other side. And the coup de grace will be charging with cavalry and archers, because archers are getting low on ammo now. Some of these guys are picking up ammos from the ground. Some of the guys are just standing there, right? That's because they're out of ammo. That's just the nature of a long battle like that. Didn't I say like that was going to be a potential issue, right? So in a situation like this, you want to have the ability to charge with those archers, and it's a pinching function here, right? We've got infantry on one side. Now, there's actually so many archers there that we're going to charge. If you're getting shot to pieces, you're not doing anything fancy. Get troops on them right away, right? Now, the infantry is boring in. I did tell the archers to charge. All those crossbows start boring up there. And the sergeant crossbow, for you guys who don't know, is an outstanding infantry fill-in, right? They run up there with their mace and that stupid helmet, but they have decent armor and a really good shield and mace combo. And look at, they're joining a line there on the right, and the enemy is getting throttled. Right? They have cavalry out front. You still hear our archers shooting. That's because we were careful with our ammo, and this fucking battle is over. We just got to shoot a few of their archers here that are kind of jammed up. They're either out of ammo or they're probably out of ammo, because more than likely they would be shooting at us. And these guys are fishing a barrel here, right? And this battle is over. All right, friend, I'm just going to call you friend instead of saying your name. Again, don't ridicule the kid. He's using lower level difficulty, and maybe he's an old guy. I don't know. Maybe he's that 70-year-old, right, who said, yeah, I'm 70. I love your channel. Whatever the case, right? I try to be easy on the guys who are we'll call it, using some steroids, Bannerlord steroids, right? Whether you're playing on easier difficulty or whether you're using some mods or whatever to enhance your characters, I don't give a shit, right? Do whatever you want. All of us at one point or another, probably. I mean, maybe not you, but almost all of you, we're playing on a lower level difficulty at the start of this. I would play on the easiest difficulty, and looters would maul me still. It's a hard game, right? So I don't fault any of you, and we're not going to do any of the whole shaming part, right? We're going to keep this channel positive. I think that's a much healthier environment. And I think it's one that'll resonate with you guys, right? Nobody wants to be bullied. What the fuck? This weapon is... And just one last tip, right? You can use a pole arm like this, but make sure you specialize in it, right? Crank 5 focus points on it. That way you don't swing it like it's a 35-foot ladder. All right, we got a beautiful sunset here. It's just the wrap up, although they are forming an archer line, so we've got to bore through the rest of them here. They're making us slaughter them down to the last man, but this battle is over, right? Now it's time for fun. We can just wail away on archers that are fleeing. We can't stop them, right? You can cue all the normal routing sounds because we're ripping off arms here at the end. We're going to have a nice sunset picnic here and celebrate victory. And hopefully, I keep wanting to say his name. I won't say your name. Hopefully, you fellas are out there enjoying and using these episodes to your benefit, right? Hopefully, some of these give you direct advice on a battle that you're having a hard time with. And again, to reemphasize that point, if you want to see a solution to a really difficult situation in your own game, all you got to do is follow the advice in the video description, but it should have come before this video, right? I'll make sure I edit it and put in just a couple minutes on how to find the file. It's really easy, fellas. And I actually get a thrill out of this shit. There's something about having an unknown situation. Of course, I have fought probably 1,000 battles in Bannerlord, significant battles. Nothing is too new for me, but this was an interesting battle, right? A really unique battle where you're fighting with an ally. You have obviously advantages, and even though we were outnumbered worse than the original situation there, still had 100 survivors. And it does make me wonder, maybe this fella was getting 1,300 defenders, right? That first run might have been an anomaly. You get little random variations in a save game. Now look at the skill perks. We are going to send this save game back to the fella because we got him 50 athleticism in one battle and a bunch of other perks, a bunch of other skills. Maybe we'll get you a legendary piece of armor, dude. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to go execute Lucala, right? That's what the guy wants. Of course, I'm kidding. We won't be doing anything too nefarious like that. We'll pick up these troops, though. Obviously, we'll just take all the loot. We'll do all the assumed stuff that I kind of figure you guys want us to do. And again, just to talk about this series a little bit more, I didn't know about it, but there's a guy who does this for Total War, right? Whether it's Rome Total War or something like that. And I used to play Total War back in the day, and I would have digged doing something like that, right? Or dug? Is it dugged? I would have digged doing something like that way back in the day. I love problem solving, and that's precisely what this is, right? You as the battlefield commander are doing problem solving. So we're not there yet. This is probably just episode 3, but who knows? This series might have a lot of legs, and all you guys have to do is send me your difficult situations. I can't promise to do all of them. Like I said, I have 7 or 8 of them that are just sitting in my inbox that I will get to. I will look at them, and if they're a good candidate, we will put them up on the big screen, right? I'll put your name and lights. Look at this guy. We gained him 150 influence. He had like 7 or something like that. There you go, bud. I also don't have to edit out your name because I didn't say it once the entire time. We'll put his little email up at some point or other, though, just to show the explicatives, and we'll blank out the name and stuff like that, the email address. All right, friends, you want to see more of this? Of course, now's your time to subscribe. Send me those difficult challenges. Hit that like button on the way out. With all that said, friends, you know how it goes. I will see you fellas and ladies next time.